Ren from Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today we're going to be discussing games we keep coming back to. Let's check it out. Welcome back, everyone, to a special episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game, and this is kind of a different video for us today. We have been challenged. There has been a challenge flag thrown down by Square Pegs. Huge shout out to him. Definitely check out his channel, linked in the description. And he asked us, what are 5 games that we keep coming back to? Now, this is, I'm going to be admitting a weird thing about me here.
You'll find the differences between us two as gamers
very,
right now.
Very different. Okay, so since I stopped playing MMOs like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV, I have been on a holy quest to experience everything I can. And in that quest, it has...
Holy quest indeed.
Yeah, holy quest indeed. I have played some of the GOATs, and I've just completely been enraptured by games. But a downside of that is I'm always on to the next. I haven't
done on to the next one.
Yeah, because I have this insatiable urge to experience everything I've missed out on. So Danik is going to help me out huge here today because you do actually replay games.
I'm a bit into the gas games. And
right.
I revisit some old games a little bit.
Yeah, because essentially my list would be here today, Xenoblade 2 and Persona 5. And that's pretty much all I've replayed in the past couple of years. But anyways, I'm sure there's more, but again, so excited to dive into these because this is a realm of gaming I don't tread very often. So.
And I don't have much of an excuse to talk about them either because they're usually outside of the realm of story, single-player experiences, and things like that.
So huge shout out to Square Pegs for giving us the opportunity to chat about these games. So let's just go ahead and start off with Danik's first game.
CounterStrike Global Offensive.
Oh my dude, I would be so out of my depth here.
It's CounterStrike, baby. This game is old enough to drink now. CounterStrike's been around since I was 10 years old.
Right.
It's crazy.
Because you have like a crew of like really tight knit friends that you guys. You do the whole shebang. You go for it.
Yeah, we got a crew that you've played with us off and on too.
Right.
It's just been a rotating group of people for years now.
Do I cast Hastica here? No, God, get behind cover.
Yeah, we've been at it for years now, and Counter-Strike's been an absolute staple for a long time.
Yeah, and I'm always super impressed because my brother is, again, like opposite end of the yin-yang here.
I've played games with him.
Yeah, and he pretty much only plays like FPS games. It's just a different skill level, a different muscle set, movement, reactions to anything like from action RPGs and turn-based games.
It is absolutely what I love about video games is how totally different from the next one this can be, and these are just...
Right.
I'm a total sucker for that rank grind or the competitive. Just give me an excuse to talk trash, to want to win.
And then there's me. I want nothing to do with that, dude. I'm like, peace. I'm out. I get too competitive.
There is you gotta embrace it, man.
Dude,
there's just nothing like it.
Yeah.
And Counter-Strike is just to me, it is absolute bliss. It is pure. It is honest. It is just so arcadey, fast paced.
To the point.
It is what it is. I can't gush about its high-paced action. It's just high intense moments. It's that feeling of a comeback win. That feeling of getting destroyed, and just that emotional low and that emotional high. It's a rush, man.
Right.
And Counter-Strike, again, we've been playing it for 20 years, most of my life now.
Right.
And you go years without playing it, you come right back to it. It's like riding a bike, man.
That's awesome.
It's gonna go nowhere. It keeps being popular. It's a great game
for sure.
Have you ever played Counter-Strike at all?
I did play the original run.
Yeah. Way back in the day.
Way back in the day. Like we're talking like we both worked at that grocery store at the time. So I want to say that had to be we're coming up on like 20 years ago at this point, I feel like.
Yeah. And there's nothing like I could add to how big Counter-Strike is. It is just one of those games that I've been
It's definitely a part of gaming culture.
Yeah, it is up. It's with the Halos, the Marios, it's part of our who gaming is.
Right, exactly. CounterStrike. Any fans? Let us know in the comments.
All right, so number 2, kind of the same, really the same token. Rocket League.
Rocket League is like a weird science to me that is fascinating.
Dude, I everything I just gushed about CounterStrike. I'll do the exact same with Rocket. Go play Rocket League.
And you've actually had huge achievements in Rocket League.
Yeah, my Rocket League career is significantly stronger than my CounterStrike career. I'm actually okay at Rocket League.
Hey, dude, I suck at all of them. Don't feel bad.
Rocket League, though, I don't get into like watching the esports stuff all the time, but like Rocket League, I've enjoyed watching their championship series. Those have been pretty good. But if you never played Rocket League, it's RC car soccer. Yeah. You're just driving an RC car around and hitting the ball into a goal.
Yeah. And you make it sound so easy.
And then it does sound so easy. I will say, like, to the point of, video games, Rocket League is one of the best examples of easy to pick up, hard to master. I truly believe you could throw a controller in anyone's hands. They can figure out how to drive and control.
So
that truly is all you need to do.
The way I would explain it to me if I didn't know what Rocket League was is, imagine Blitzball but with RC cars.
Okay, it's great. Like Blitzball, I'm one of the few people who just love.
You genuinely play that game.
I genuinely played Blitzball and Final Fantasy. And I remember when I was younger, I had always hoped that there could be like EA Sports made a Blitzball game with online play.
That'd be sick. That would be sick.
Honestly, that's what Rocket League ended up being.
Really?
I wanted that fake sport with online play, but presented as like a real sport.
I think we're on to something here. I think
we need Blitzball
We
online.
need to learn coding, and we need a friend at Square Enix.
And make Blitzball online.
Yeah, it needs to happen.
But there was just something about Rocket League that did marry that desire I always had as a kid for that fake, unrealistic sport being a real online.
There's some legit hype around Rocket League too. Man.
That is, again, high highs and low lows.
For sure.
That controller will go through the wall at one moment.
You'll send me a text at like 1 a.m, and it'll be you getting into a championship round. I'm like, oh my god, good luck. And then you'll
just radio silence.
Yeah, radio silence. Like, oh man, poor guy. But no, you've gotten champion multiple times.
Yeah, we're knocking at the door right now. Me and another friend. It's always a good.
It's gonna happen.
I always enjoy the grind. It's a very fun game, and I like they're short. They're 8-minute average. Takes about 8 minutes a game.
Are there any
in and out?
Are there any Rocket League artists down in the comments? Please let us know. Okay, this next game you have, I think, is one that I actually would fall in love with. So.
Civilization.
Yeah.
Particularly lately, it's been 6. I'm not as strong-hearted about which version I'm playing. Okay. I just really like playing Civilization. If you've ever played one, you know how long these games can be. They're an old classic PC franchise, turn-based strategy game. It's been an influence of video games from early video games. The Super Nintendo version, from the Super Nintendo version down to the modern Switch, and on everything Civ 6.
Yeah, and I have Civ 6 on Switch thanks to you, and I'm excited to get to it because I know there's a lot of excellence there that I'm missing out on, and it is. I would definitely call it on my quest to experience new games. It's definitely on my list.
It's a learning curve is there, but it is just. One of those, it's not, I don't want to call it competitive because I tend to play it against AI or just pal around with some friends. But they are just a really enjoyable experience and strategy game. I've been playing them since my uncle, when I was like 5 or 6, introduced it to me. They've just stuck around with me like a CounterStrike has through most of my life now.
One really cool story about Civilization that kind of always creeped me out is one dude did a post that he had a 10-year-long Civ match going.
Yeah.
And it was essentially just a nuclear wasteland.
It's been one of one of the more enjoyable and
Yeah,
interesting
like
reads.
eerie.
You can Google
Yeah.
that. I think it was like the 10-year Civilization 2 game.
Really?
Something
Okay.
like that. It's an interesting
spooky,
read.
but
Yeah.
very cool. Yeah.
But Civilization, I've always just kind of enjoyed that world politic lens and just things like that. It's an enjoyable, just always been an enjoyable game that I just keep coming back to.
Right.
One more turn.
Yeah.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I gotta add in Parkitect. I gotta give a shout out to Parkitect too. Parkitect is just an indie game that was clearly inspired by Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I felt like they nailed it.
Yeah.
They knew what the heart of Roller Coaster Tycoon was.
Yeah.
Because like Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 and everything that followed it, they just didn't hit the same note that Roller Coaster 1 and 2 did.
Really? Okay.
No, I couldn't even like tell you why. It just felt different. But Parkitect is a pretty recent game that I felt.
I do remember you and I think, getting really into it.
Yeah, it did what I always wanted a Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been playing them since I was probably about 11 or 10 years old.
Really?
When I got my
Okay.
first computer,
Wow.
it was one of the first games I ever got. My neighbor had it, and he showed it to me, and we were like, oh, heck, I was off to the races. But I've enjoyed, really, that was where my enjoyment of tycoon games or simulation games came from. But it was that building of roller coasters that I just really, really enjoyed.
That's awesome.
I couldn't theme the park. I just made cool rides.
Dude, that's where it's at.
And then it stuck with me for years and years. There's been so many parks I've made that I've lost just to formatting computer that I would give anything to remember. There were websites that I'd uploaded to, those fan websites.
Really?
On GeoCities and stuff like that. But they're lost to time in that old internet.
I'd give anything to have my old PS1 and PS2 memory cards back.
Yeah, just that Roller Coaster's that game that what was that cool park I made? What was that cool idea I had?
Yeah.
I remember, I'll tell you how lame it was. I had some Linkin Park and Limp Bizkit music imported into my roller coaster.
You could do that?
Well, you could have two.
Oh,
you could store two custom files, and I had those as like my bumper cars theme and a roller coaster theme.
Yeah.
But experimenting just with like the shops, and I had like this 4 train car racing coaster, and I had it perfectly synced up. It was a lot of time spent on that game.
That's excellent.
But even to this day, during COVID break, I played Parkitect, and it brought me back. And now that I'm older, I understand. I like different things about theme parks, that really well-designed scenery. So now I'm more into that than I am the ride itself. It's been a game that my tastes have evolved with it, and that type of game or franchise has been something I've always come back to.
And that's something really rare for a game, to where as you get older, you find new ways to enjoy the
Absolutely.
same thing. Yeah, I mean, that's saying something.
Because when you're a kid too, like the first thing you do is cheat and get infinite money, and now you're like, okay, I can kind of understand, balancing all this stuff and charging this much money for. It's just like you said, you can appreciate the same game in a different way.
Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and Parkitect. Have you played it? Let us know what you think of them down in the comments.
All right, the last one. Come on,
Oh, yeah. I kind of figured it had to be
Street Fighter 3 Third Strike.
Right.
Hit me up on Fightcade.
Dude, that music's so good.
Yeah, man. Street Fighter 3, it's less Street Fighter 3 in particular, more fighting games.
Yeah.
I get to the point I've made about CounterStrike and Rocket League. The competitiveness I've always enjoyed, and Street Fighter is one of the first games I remember ever playing, ever owning. I remember the first arcade I felt like Street Fighter machine I ever saw was next to Tekken, and I was like, Tekken, this 3D stuff, get out of here.
Yeah, seriously, you got Cammy.
There was I had Street Fighter 2 for Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. I've had a fighting game my whole life, and then with online play, it just kind of came right back to me when I got Capcom versus SNK2 for Xbox, and then Xbox Live and online multiplayer was like, oh my gosh, this whole new world.
That was crazy.
It was because like around us, we never had that arcade fighting game scene.
It's
around
so
here.
weird that this, like, I worked with a lot of gamers, but there's not a lot of gaming, like outside of GameStop, there's not a lot of gaming things to do. If you're into tabletop RPGs, this area is where it's at.
Absolutely.
But I don't know, there's just not like a ton of arcades in the local area.
And even as we grew up, there were, you know, the malls had an arcade, but it wasn't like there were tournaments and things like that. But we never had the tournament scenes, we never had things like that. So when online play showed up, it was, to me, this whole new world. It was just like occasionally a Funko Land would host a Tekken 3 tournament, things like that. That was the best we would get.
I'm still mad Funko Land's gone. Yeah, I'm still mad.
F in the chat.
Yeah,
upsetting. But Street Fighter 3 Third Strike didn't have online play, and then the modernization of ROMs, emulators, and Fightcade, GGPO, all of these things. You can play these games online. They got re-released with online play now. It's crazy how this stuff these old games have evolved and still work in a new network and things like that.
Well, it's just interesting because, like, I would say a couple of the best gaming communities out there for giving life to old things. I mean, you have like the Dreamcast fans. They're still releasing new games, but doing a lot of work with their existing tech. You got obviously the Vita Islanders, but I just feel like that if you can get a good gaming community behind something, they can
breathe life.
Yeah, literally just resurrect old stuff.
And in a lot of ways, I think Third Strike and Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah,
there's always been this community, the heartbeat of these games that will not let them fade. And we've had them. Third Strike again was re-released because of that passion.
And it's beautiful when you see it happen. And
hopefully it coalesces into a quality release that makes those fans happy while also bringing in a new audience.
Yeah, and kind of like now that I'm coming off my MMOs, I'm getting away from it. I am interested in fighting games. I want to get good. I just need to pick a game and sit down and I'm going to get good at this game. Because I know it just requires time and effort, and
it's one of those things I don't think anyone's figured out how to teach someone to enjoy it.
Right.
You either find it for yourself or you don't, kind of thing. So there's my 5 games that I kind of like, that I'm generally every year.
They keep calling you back.
I'm going to come back to. I'm going to show up, throw my hands up.
You got them on speed dial.
Yeah, I'm going to get in a match with somebody and talk some trash.
That's right, dude. But thank you so much, Square Pegs, again.
Thank you, Square Pegs.
Yeah, giving us a reason and a chance to talk about these games. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. But what are games that keep calling back to you? Let me know down in the comments. I can't wait to check them out. Maybe I'll find something on here for me to dive into. Thank you again for sharing these, and like this video if you liked it. Subscribe and hit that notification bell for more gaming content. And until then, we'll see you all next time.
We await your return, warrior.
I love you, I do.